Hello history optional students, welcome to Diademy IAS. In this video, I would like to show you how to write an answer for a history optional question. Here I would like to show from the program called Marks Improvement Program. Currently this program is going on at Diademy IAS. In Diademy, I am conducting this test series. Here two components are there. One component is daily answer writing. Daily you will get the targets and 3 to 4 questions will be given and you will submit to me. I personally evaluate and give the feedback. The second component is the sectional tests. First 6 days, daily answer writing. The 7th day, that is Sunday, the sectional test on the last 6 days. So in that way, this program is designed very well to complete entire syllabus within 8 weeks. That means 2 months. This is particularly designed for the students who are going for 2024 mains. It is also useful for those students who have already prepared very well and who want practice, rigorous practice writing. This is called Marks Improvement Program. From this, I am showing you how to create one answer and I will show one question from the Mauryan Empire. This is, you can see, day 7. The number itself indicates day 7. Here we have UPSC syllabus given so many units, unit 7, 7th day, 7th unit. That means one chapter, one day. That is the simple target. Mauryan Empire. Now here, this is the first question. Here you can see, the purpose of this video is to how to frame the structure and how to write the answer. Students who are preparing for last 1 year or who have completed optional syllabus once, they will not find any difficulty in getting the content related to Mauryan Empire. Whatever the components that are there in the question, each and every student know it. But only it comes challenging when it comes to the structuring the answer. It's all about structuring, because I will show how that structure is going to be very important. If you observe this question, discuss the comparative merit of the Ardhashastra, the Indica and Ashoka inscriptions as sources for the administration, socio-economic conditions and religious life in the Mauryan period. If you observe very closely, each and every word can be asked as a 10-marker question or 15-marker question. You can see, for example, discuss the comparative merit of Ardhashastra. If I just frame one question on Ardhashastra itself, I can frame a question, I can ask for 10 marks, 15 marks, 20 marks also. But here, one question, only for 20 marks, you have to write about Ardhashastra. Then you see the second, the Indica. I can ask just a single question on Indica itself. But here, only for 20 marks, everything I have to. Now, you add Ardhashastra, some points will come. Indica also some points should contain. Answer should contain. So that is why every student know about Ardhashastra, every student know about Indica, but when it comes to the combination, now it becomes difficult. When more and more components are getting added, now the structuring, answer is very simple once you know the structure. The third component you see, and Ashoka inscriptions, that itself can be asked as a question for 20 marker. But here, that is not. Here you have to see Ardhashastra also, you have to mention about Ardhashastra, Indica, Ashoka inscriptions, and now you see as sources for the administration. As you know, on Mauryan administration itself, 20 marker question can be asked. But now you see, single question, socio-economic condition, that itself can be a question, and religious life in the Mauryan period. As you know, that itself is a question. Now you see, at least 6 questions can be framed from the single question. But everything you have to write in 4 pages, 20 marker question. So this is where challenging. When content is, a lot of content is there, but how to put. Now I will show a very simple method and it is very, very useful for you. It can be applied across history optional and even GS, other place also. Just you master how to divide the question, segment the question, then automatically your answer is going to be very, very refined. Once you know the structuring, then answer is done. Now here it is asking about comparative merit of Ardhashastra, Indica and Ashoka inscription. Now this is the question paper. Now you have to answer in this way. How to structure this one? First you write, this is the question, comparative merit. You will start the answer. If you brainstorm, it happens very fastly in the examination hall. It is asking about something Ardhashastra, Indica, Ashoka inscriptions, and each and every source it is asking about what is administration, what is socio-economic condition and religious life. Now you see how structure entire question now framed into this part. How Ardhashastra will help us in understanding administration, socio-economic condition and religious life. Indica, again, same repetition because question is about that only. Now you see, once you master how to structure the question, then it becomes very, very easy. It's like a framework. That framework will fit across the questions. Again, Ashoka inscriptions, administration, socio-economic and religious. Now, by the time now you will automatically understand what this question is demanding. Now, 4 pages are there, 20 marker question. Now I will show you how to structure it. Now when there are 4 pages, now 1.5 page goes to this part, 1.5 page goes to this part, 1.5 page goes to this part. But itself become 4.5 page. We cannot write. That means 1 page, 1 page, 1 page. 3 pages, equally we have to divide. Now when you give 3 pages, 4 pages are there. Some introduction will come, conclusion will come. So minimum 1 page for this, 1 page for this, 1 page for this. Now I will show how easy this question is. It appears so many points are there. But once you understand it, it becomes very, very easy to write the answer. 1 page, 1 page, 1 page. Again, that 1 page you will not write about Ardhashastra. Whatever you know about Ardhashastra, it is not required here. You have to give the only points Ardhashastra which it is talking about administration. And Ardhashastra talks about so many things about administration. But it is not about, the question is not about Ardhashastra administration. Few points about administration of Ardhashastra. Few points about socio-economic conditions of Ardhashastra. Few points about religious conditions of Ardhashastra. Now, 1 page once again turned into 3 segments. Now you see, I am giving, this is the paper for you. You should not write in this part. You should not write anything in this part. Now the moment you give Ardhashastra as a source to understand, now this single page you consider how it help in administration, and hardly how many points you need? Just 3-4 lines or maximum 2 paragraphs. Now you see, Ardhashastra administration itself is an essay. But for this question, the requirement is everything you have to condense into 2 paragraphs. Do you see how UPSC game is all about? If this itself is a question for 20 marker, then you are going to write about each and every component of administration in detail. But here you don't have that choice. Few paragraphs, then socio-economic conditions, 2 paragraphs, then religious life. 2 paragraphs, 1 page done. So 1/3 of the answer is done. Now same is the case. You just repeat for Indica. Indica as a source, and once again administration, socio-economic, then religion. That is also done. Now same thing you apply for the Ashoka inscriptions as a source, administration, socio-economic and religious life. Now you see, the moment you give the structure, how easy it becomes. And definitely after studying entire history optional, can't you just write 2 paragraphs? Ashoka inscription and administration. Everybody, definitely they can write. It talks about Dhamma Mahamatas administration. It talks about district administration like Rajukas. Some officers were appointed for spreading Dhamma. Socio-economic condition. It talks about social welfare of the people. It talks about various sects of the people. Religious life. It talks about various religions that are present in the society. Automatically you can give. That is how Ashoka inscription, how they are helping us to know about Mauryan time period. And when it comes to Indica, Indica talks about administration. The best example, it talks about Pataliputra municipal administration, to explain that. Then socio-economic condition, according to Indica, Megasthenes observed that Indian society divided into 7 segments. That is his observation. Indian literature talks about 4 varnas, but according to him, he observed Indian society divided into 7 layers. And according to him, there is no slavery also. But according to Indian text, we know very well that since later Vedic time period, since early Vedic time period itself, the concept of slavery was there. Dasyus. Later Vedic time period, slavery was there. By Mauryan time period, slaves were there. Ardhashastra talks about prisoners of war and slaves. That is why, but according to Indica, his perspective, there is no slavery. That's what you need to write. Next, religious life. It talks about various shramanas that are present in the society. When it comes to Ardhashastra, same thing. Administration, so many details are there, but we require only hardly 2-3 paragraphs. It talks about various officers, particularly Ardhashastra Adhyakshas, 27 Adhyakshas are there. Socio-economic condition, Varna system, and various slavery and other various social aspects it will talk about. Religious life, existence of multiple religions. Now you can see, we don't require Ardhashastra administration. That itself is a 20-marker question. But here, you have to condense into 2 paragraphs. Can't you write? Easily you can write. Only you have to master, for that question, how to convert into different segments. Do you see? This entire question. Now, what is the introduction? Conclusion and introduction. Initially, you don't be afraid of starting the answer. There are some simple statements which can be used almost universally across the subject. Like suppose, Mauryan Empire, one of the glorious periods in the entire Indian history. The sentence, just you replace Mauryan history with Gupta history. Gupta period is one of the most remarkable dynasty Indian history. Same applies to Delhi Sultanate, same applies to Akbar, everywhere. So such kind of sentences are very easy to just frame. That is the beginning, those who are afraid of starting something. And you simply start like this and it will give the flow and you write. Main focus should be on demand of the question. Demand is in the body. Now, observe this. As you write more and more questions, even in your introduction also, the refinement will come. How it will come? If you observe this one, Ardhashastra, is it a literary source or archaeological source? It's a literary source. Indica, it's a literary source. But difference between Ardhashastra and Indica, one is Indian literary source, another one is foreign literary source. Another one, Ashoka inscription, that is archaeological inscription, archaeological sources. Now you observe this, our unit number 1 talk about sources in our syllabus itself. Our syllabus itself will give you the hints, how to start, how to even get the dimensions also. Our sources talk about Indian literary sources and archaeological sources, and literary sources, Indian and foreign and archaeological sources. Now, while you are giving the introduction, you can simply say that the introduction is one of the most remarkable dynasties in Indian history. That is simple first sentence. Second sentence, directly hit the demand. In order to understand such a great empire, we have both Indian literary sources as well as foreign literary sources along with archaeological sources. Now done. Ardhashastra came, Indica came, everything came in single sentence. Now you give the subheading Ardhashastra and one by one administration, socio-economic and this how. So this is how you have to create the structure. Once you master the structure, then it becomes the easiest part to write. But by seeing the question, it appears as if question is very big and how to answer this. But if you know how to divide the question, different segments, it's very easy. That is what you can see even in the Model answer also I have done the same way. Ardhashastra, administration, socio-economic condition and religious life. Then second indica, administration, socio-economic and religious life. That is what the demand. And it's all about demand and number of marks. Suppose if it is about 10 marker, then I cannot even write these many points also. If it is 15 mark, I can write some more. 20 marks, some I can elaborate. Depending on the number of marks and depending on the demand of the question, I have to completely transform the answer. Now, Ashoka edicts, administration, socio-economic and religious. And when it comes to comparative, now come to the keyword comparative merit. It is asking about comparative. That's why 4 pages are there. Some part introduction, some part conclusion. 3 pages will go to 3 different segments. Now, the remaining portion you can use for comparative merit. Authenticity, how far they are reliable. This itself is a question. This itself, how far the foreign sources can be reliable in the reconstruction of Indian history. Already UPSC also asked. But that point you have to write in single sentence. How far that authenticity. And about the detailed, some give detailed description, some give just light description. Perspective, from the foreign perspective, there is no slavery, but in the Indian context, it is available. Comparison, how far they are reliable, how far they are in detail, how far their perspective is correct one or not. Conclusion, each of these, we cannot, even though they have some limitations, each and every segment has their own limitations. For example, Ardhashastra, it is not written in single year and not even Mauryan period. The text appears to be gradually evolved over a period of time, but it mostly focuses on Mauryan. That's why it has some limitations, but despite that, it is one of the important sources to understand Mauryan period. Indica, as I said, some even fantasies are also written in the Indica, but it doesn't mean they are in existence. That is the limitation. Despite that, we cannot altogether completely discard it, because even that information is also a kind of history. That in ancient India, there were so many fables, so many fantasies that were believed about India. That itself is a historical aspect. That is why nothing can be discarded. Only how we interpret it only matters. That's why each and every source is important from the reconstruction of the history. That is what the conclusion. Then that is how you have to divide the question into multiple segments depending on the demand, and you keep writing. Next one, suppose if I give second question. Explain in detail. Now you see, explain in detail the Mauryan policy of regulating and controlling economic activities. Do you see? In the previous question, it is asking about how Ardhashastra socio-economic condition, Indica economic condition, inscriptions economic condition, and it was part of a bigger question. There you cannot write much details about economy. But here it is, question itself is asking, explain in detail. There, 15 marker question, 20 marker question. Then you have plenty of space to explain about various segments. Then, the moment you see regulating and controlling economic activities, the moment economic activities come, then automatically the dimensions are related to economy. And the moment economy comes, now basic dimensions you can imagine, and you can immediately recount, recollect, these are the economic dimensions. Agriculture is an economic dimension. All that you need to do, agriculture and Mauryan state, simply you bring the sources. To understand how state regulating agriculture, we have different sources like Ardhashastra. It talks about regulating economic activities in the field of agriculture. Sitadhyaksha is one example. Likewise, then artisan activities or industries, another dimension. Trading, activities controlled, internal trade and external trade. Currency, punch marked coins, it's a kind of regulating, weights and measures, regulating, mining. These are the economic dimensions. Just you need to highlight one after the other and just you give it. Like you see, in the previous question, you cannot write these many points, even though question is asking about economic conditions. But here, you have the chance to write. Depending on the question, Just here, again, if you divide 4 pages, some few paragraphs about agriculture, few paragraphs about artisan, trading, currency, weights and measures, then everything you can easily, taxation, economic, everything is important for the Mauryan state to raise the taxation so that it strengthens the economic condition of the empire. That's what just you need to highlight one after the other. So that is what the question is about. Different state control, intervention, adhyakshas will be there, taxation, currency, trade, agriculture, then land measurement, then usage of the slaves and laborers, then urban administration in the trading, commerce, transportation development and regulations, everything you will talk about. Control over guilds, then private enterprise, also there. It's not only about every economic activity controlled by the state, some private enterprise also there, agriculture, trade and commerce, so private balance between state intervention as well as the private enterprise, then you just conclude it. So this is how you need to understand that automatically once you know how to structure it, it becomes very easy to understand because it is very easy to write. You might have already read so much material you might have collected, so many books also you might have read. It's all about how you use your answer in the proper framework. That's it. So this is how, if you start thinking on these lines, writing becomes very easy. Do not get afraid of starting the answers. Always start very simple sentence, begin, then divide the question into multiple segments, write few points. Depending on the pages, 2 page, 3 page, 4 page, just you allocate the space for that segment. This is how in marks improvement program, this is how our students are getting trained. It will help you if you join the daily answer writing and marks improvement program. As part of marks improvement program, daily targets will be given. If you suppose, if those who are preparing for the next year, the same program will be given with less targets so that you will not be in hurry. 2 months will become 4.5 months. You will cover the same syllabus in 4.5 months. Depending on your requirement, you can utilize this program. Thank you. Thank you very much. We will meet in another video. Thank you.